วัสดีค่ะ Welcome all distinguished guests, exhibitors and visitors right here to the second day that we are at CyberSec Asia and Thailand International Cyber Week 2025. My name is Kwang Hemjara. It is my great honor once again to welcome you to the second day of our excellent event. So now here come to the second day at the tech stage, the platform that you will meet the industry leaders and business opportunity to explore further. And for the conference section in this edition, we are excited to feature over 35 sessions with more than 80 distinguished speakers. The content is more about knowledge sharing, also trend updates, and opportunities for more thoughts and ideas from the industry leaders that you are going to receive for the whole day of the conference. So for the most current agenda, please visit our website on worldwideweb.cybersec-asia.net. And also you can scan the QR code at the back of your badge to access the mobile application. So we have not only in this stage, but also we have the main stage right outside and also at the conference room at MR 111 for CyberSec stage. And we have some of activities, you have the workshop that you can join. So please feel free to contact our team and the staff at the registration counter right in front of the entrance. So to kick off, we are honored to present the session from Haltdos, which is going to share about the securing business by stopping Intolerable L7 event. I would like to take this opportunity to invite the CEO of Haltdos up on the stage. So could you please give a big round of applause and invite Mr. Anshul Saxena. Please welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful time. My name is Anshul, and I am the CEO of Haltdos. Haltdos is a Indian-based cybersecurity product company, and today I'll be covering the topic on securing against intolerable Layer 7 events. And to begin, I will start with a story. So it was the middle of the night. I was on call, and my pager started ringing. I'm talking about 2012 when I was a security engineer at Amazon, blocking denial of service or DDoS attacks on anybody hosting their website on Amazon Web Services. So I get this notification that one of our customers is under DDoS attack. I was having a long day at work, but then I woke up, opened my laptop. My laptop was a little slow. It took about 2 minutes for it to boot. I was also half asleep, so I ended up mistyping my password. By the time I was able to log in and start my investigation, the attack had grown and it started affecting other customers on AWS. So I had a new boss who had joined my team, and he was very nervous because he started getting very nasty emails and calls from customers telling that their website on AWS is not working anymore. So he calls up and he tells me, I want you to find out who's attacking us. And when you do, launch a cyber attack on them. So anyways, I heard him. One of the interesting things about DDoS is that it is an attack where the attacker is using thousands of bots to launch an attack on you. And it is practically impossible to find out who is the one who's perpetrating the attack. But then I was focused on doing my job. I identified the pattern of the attack, and we were able to block the attack by deploying some rules and policies. It was not a very complicated attack, so I shut my laptop and I went back to sleep. The attacker realized that their attack on that website was not working anymore. So they decided to change their strategy and come up with a different type of DDoS attack. And my pager went off again. So that is the scenario of a DDoS attack where there are multiple types of DDoS attacks that can happen at any point in time. And you deploy a signature to block one attack. And within minutes, the attacker can change their strategy and you have a new type of DDoS attack and you have to start the entire exercise all over again. This is one example of a intolerable attack, but my focus today would be slightly different because rather than just covering on the network side, which is how typically DDoS is looked at, I'll be covering more on layer 7 side of the story. So just to give you a little brief about Haltdos started as a bunch of researchers. We are out of India. We are awardees with various awards, including the prestigious National Technology Award from Government of India. And we've got various patents regarding our technology, carrying a total about 8 products, and various certifications around these products. And we are practically protecting various sectors across the industry, from manufacturing, telecom, banking, and government and R&D facilities. We offer anti-DDoS that goes in the name, Haltdos, as the very first offering that we had built, followed on with anti-bot capabilities, web application and API protection, DNS security with DNS firewall, also providing VPN solutions for remote access to production environment. On the performance side, we also provide CDN, DNS services, and load balancing at the application level, at the data center level, and across multiple data centers. We give it in hardware form factor. We also give a virtualized solution. And we run also our own SaaS platform backed by managed services. And these are some of the services that we offer, regardless of the deployment, hardware, virtual, or SaaS. Our SaaS solution from day one, since we launched, is a multi-cloud service, so that at any point in time, whenever we are protecting a website, we make sure that it is reliable across multiple data centers. So just the way we expect DC and DR for on-premise, it's the same thing that we implement over the cloud. One of the benefit is that we reduce the operational cost, we reduce the mean time to respond to incidents, as well as back it with an amazing SSLA of 99.999. So in total, approximately through our SaaS service, we are blocking over 300 million attacks on a quarterly basis, with about 15,000 assets, web assets under protection across 120 countries. We also have a free version of our application security software, which is used a lot in Thailand also, and in Southeast Asia, but also across the globe. So I'll be presenting around 4 challenges covering that is plaguing the industry, starting with, of course, blocking of layer 7 DDoS attacks. See, one of the major issues with the layer 7 DDoS attack is that as the network speed has improved and the bot networks have expanded, also using IoT devices and mobile devices, we've started seeing that the attack pattern on DDoS also changed from network layer attacks like SYN flood, TCP flood, connection flood, to more advanced like low and slow attacks, protocol-based attacks on HTTP 2.0, 3.0, request flood, and a bit more innovative like OTP flood kind of attacks. So the interesting thing about low and slow is that it is hard to detect, but fairly easy to stop. What I'm more concerned about are attacks like HTTP flood, which are very simple to detect, but can be very hard to block. On average, you can say a low and slow attack you can block in a matter of a couple of hours. That's the industry average. But for HTTP request flood, for example, the average time it takes for any organization to block those attacks is about 24 hours. So that's the tricky part, which we'll be talking and how we cover that with our solution. So this is one example of one of our customers who got attacked. They were roughly getting around 2,000 attacks, request every minute during normal operations. And then the attack surfaced, and the attack increased from that 2,000 requests per minute all the way to 15 million requests per minute. And it just took a matter of few seconds for it to increase to this huge number. And it took just about a few seconds for us to bring it down back to normalcy with Haltdos. And we did that with a couple of capabilities. See, the thing is, the current strategy that is used in the industry when it comes to blocking layer 7 attack is implementing geofencing. But what do you do if the entire bot network is within your country? So if I talk about Thailand, if there are multiple bots who are launching attack within the country, then geofencing that I do not want any traffic from anywhere else other than Thailand is not going to help. So that's one of the major drawbacks of geofencing. The other way of protecting is to implement some kind of challenge and response mechanism. This is where you can send capture challenge and JavaScript challenge. Now, the problem with such kind of attacks is that the bots also have become very smart and have become AI enabled. So blocking with a JavaScript and capture challenge is not going to work because they're smart enough to crack it. And that is why these attacks also invariably fail. The only thing that the organization is practically left with is rate limiting based attacks, wherein you say that no more than these many number of requests should be allowed. The problem with this is that it is very effective, but it will also have collateral damage where your genuine customers will also start getting impacted. So to solve this, we introduce a new kind of challenge and response mechanism called proof of work. It's actually proof of work along with proof of space. And if you've heard of this term before, that would be because you might have heard of blockchain. This is the same technology that powers blockchain. And it's a cryptographic technique where you send a challenge and you get a response. To solve that challenge is very hard, but to verify that the answer is correct is very simple. And we use that same mechanism to send a challenge to a new user accessing the website. And by doing so, we can make sure that if you are a bot, then it can take more than 80 to 90% of CPU utilization to make just one single request. And that is where we are able to bring the attack volume down of a request flood from thousands or millions of requests down to a few hundred requests from the attack point of view. Also, unlike a traditional capture challenge, this is not something that you can bypass. You have to solve it in order to access the website. And no amount of AI is going to help you prevent this. The other thing that we support is capability of deploying decoys. See, attackers evade us. They find out techniques to confuse us. Why not take the same attack to them? And what we are able to do is that we can implant links and forms inside a web page, which does not actually is there in the application, but it is embedded to confuse the bots into believing that these are valid links. And when they perpetrate any request on it, we are able to detect them even before they launch an attack. Because the very first thing that the bots do is reconnaissance. They'll download the web page, extract all the links, navigate various links, understand your application before they launch an attack. So by embedding such links and forms, which is not visible to normal user, but visible to the bots, we are able to identify them even before they perpetrate the attack. And that's a low friction, high accuracy, and irrespective of the kind of attack they are planning to perpetrate. And of course, no application security stack is complete without having behavioral capabilities and an AI engine. So we track various capability. We track the client. We track the device they are using to access. We track the sessions, the SSL transactions, and we compute various behaviors of a normal user and the behavior of an attacker, and we are able to use that to differentiate them and block them proactively. And these are some of the capabilities that you can do with respect to taking action on bot traffic. Finally, APIs have become a new way of interacting between organizations through inter-API communications, also with the vendors, and sometimes even with end customers. So we have introduced a capability called API SDK. This adds an additional layer on top of the communication between API and the mobile clients when they are communicating to each other, so that we are able to differentiate this from any attack coming on APIs directly, especially API-related DDoS attacks. So we use the same cryptographic challenge capability, and we are able to whitelist your genuine mobile applications so that they are able to communicate with your APIs, while anybody who's trying to clone your mobile app, or somebody trying to do some phishing and cloning and having a similar name of your app, and then confusing the end users into using those apps instead of your original apps, that all of that can be prevented. So this way we make sure that layer 7 DDoS attacks are prevented. One of the other challenge that is causing issues in the industry is regarding implementation of WAF, or web application firewall. See, these solutions are extremely effective but notorious for a lot of false positives. And that's why you will see in the industry about 95% implementation of web application firewall is not complete. It's either just logging or partially blocking. And that is the reality of cybersecurity on the application layer. To solve this, uh, we've introduced data AI, which is using anomaly-based detection and mitigation techniques to block zero-day attacks as well as regular attacks without having to configure any signatures or built-in signatures in the WAF solution. We also have signature AI, where the built-in signatures are automatically enabled without causing any kind of disruption in normal user and the application interaction. And thirdly, we generate governance reports where we track the status of various signatures so that you can plan your security strategy from moving all the signatures into blocking mode in an organized and planned manner without causing any disruption. Because at the end of the day, application is a factor of three teams: the application development team, the security team, and the networking team. And by having all of them aware of what the status of the application is, you can make better decisions in improving the security posture. Which brings to the fourth point, where we also generate a score for every application that is onboarded behind the WAF. And we give a score from 0 to 100, with 100 being very good and 0 being extremely bad. So if the WAF generates a score for your application, say 40 out of 100, so you, as the chief information security officer or the owner of the application, will start questioning, how do I take from 40 to 50, and then from 50 to 60? And that is where our managed service comes in. We consult with you, with the application team, and come up with a strategy to take the score from 40 all the way to 100, so that you are improving your security posture and adhering to industry's best practices, at the same time ensuring that your application is protected against the latest threats. API security is again, a major concern because it is a combination of the three teams. And one of the major issues with APIs is that most organizations have so many APIs that they don't even know that they exist. And when you conduct a security audit and you are not made aware of the APIs that you have to test, and the solution goes into production, what do you do with such APIs? And they become vulnerable and target for the attackers. That's why the concept of shadow APIs, hidden APIs, and zombie APIs come into picture, which the security team actually never ends up testing. So the WAF solution is now called Web Application and API Protection because it does API management, be it REST API, SOAP, XML, GraphQL, or any other format. We also support API authentication so that you can validate before a user logs in and uses your API. And of course, the same API SDK to enhance the security of the APIs over and above the encryption. We also discover hidden APIs and stale APIs. We not only just discover them, we also document them and generate a full-fledged documentation of your APIs along with the payload and the information around the payload. And finally, we have the capability with device ID, client ID, and a combination of various tracking mechanisms that we have to mitigate attacks effectively using the traditional methods of rate limiting. Finally, I'll talk about something on layer 7, but this is on the DNS side. See, the majority of the malware, when they have to communicate with command and control server, the one thing that they use is fast flux DNS. So DNS is the only mechanism that they use to communicate to the command and control server, because if you do it with an IP address, and if that IP address is blocked, then the communication between the malware and the command and control server goes away. So having an effective DNS strategy is going to improve your security posture because we can detect fast flux domains. We, we can detect domains which are hiding behind homographic domains. As you can see on the screen, uh, this looks like Microsoft.com, but it's actually R and N combined, which is actually confusing a human into believing it is a genuine domain. And finally, also detecting more evasive ways of infiltration and exfiltration using DNS, where the data is actually sent out of the network using DNS protocol. So to prevent this, first thing that we do with DNS firewall is preventing of infection. We block malicious domains based on threat intel as well as machine learning to classify the domains into various categories. We can detect and block newly registered domains. So I create a new domain today and start using that for sending traffic. That can also be detected and blocked. And enforce safe search so that anybody when using the internet uses safe search either on Google, Bing, YouTube, and so on and so forth. Further on, we prevent DNS cache poisoning. So instead of google.com going to a Google server, it going to some other web server, so we prevent that. We prevent blocking of homographic domains. So this way we detect them and then we block them. And finally, dynamic DNS, which are techniques to bypass all the DNS security measures at the firewall level. We detect and we identify and we block them. But not just that, we also identify which is the machine which is making this request. And by doing so, we identify which machines are actually currently infected. And by doing so, we are able to quickly isolate those devices from the rest of the network and can take more detailed forensic analysis as to what is the infection on that machine and then take corresponding action. In the case of containment of infection, we are able to prevent data infiltration and exfiltration So infiltration is where we are able to download malicious payload over DNS, and exfiltration being taking the same local file or content that I want to take it out of the network as a malware. I use DNS to send data as a payload. Blocking of algorithmically generated domains. So one of the things that the attackers do is they create an algorithmically generated domains and use that to communicate to command and control servers. So these domains are created at random and on a daily basis, and they use that, so they try to evade detection. We are able to detect these algorithmically generated domains and block them, and also block domains which are used for cryptojacking, and classify domains like as an organization policy. For example, I decide I don't want any news or sports channels to be allowed in the network. So you can just classify and block those categories and enforce those policies. So with that, I'll just wrap up. On the layer 7 side, intolerable events start from a denial of service to adequate enforcement of security policy at the application layer, managing false positive, and continuously improving your security posture, because any audit that you perform is a one-time activity, but it is a web application firewall which will be there to protect you 24 by 7. And if it is not configured properly, it is ultimately going to cause harm, because at the end of the day, these applications are being used by your customers. And if they don't work, it is your reputation that is under attack. We are your security partners. Not only do we detect attacks, we help you mitigate them, and we also back it with solutions which are forward-looking and future-proof. In fact, we have capabilities to even detect and block prompt injection if you're using AI in your application. I thought I will cover that, but within the time that I had, I thought that is not possible. But I'm here to talk more about it. If you I'm having a booth right behind, so I'll be happy to chat with you. This is some of the feedback where our customers are using from different sectors. And one of the things that we'll tell you is that it's a product that is backed by service, and that ensures that you can implement your security while it is managed by experts who are doing this day in, day out. With that, thank you so much for today, and I look forward to speaking with some of you.
ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you very much once again to Mr. Anshul from Haltdos, which if you would like to get to know more about his solution, please feel free to contact him in person นะเมื่อสักครู่นี้นะคะก็ได้รับฟังกันไปเป็นที่เรียบร้อยแล้วนะคะแต่ว่าเดี๋ยวยังไงขออนุญาตขึ้น QR code ให้อีกสักหนึ่งครั้งนะคะ so we will have the conference survey that we would like to request a few minutes of yours that you can just take some time to get us the feedback และช่วงนี้นะคะระหว่างที่ได้ทำฟีดแบ็กกันอยู่นะคะก็อยากจะบอกว่าสำหรับตัวของบริการนะคะของ Haltdos เองนะคะทุกท่านก็สามารถที่จะให้เขามาเป็นส่วนหนึ่งนะคะของ security partner นะคะให้กับองค์กรของคุณได้ในการรักษาความปลอดภัยนะคะของระบบเครือข่ายนะซึ่งก็มีหลากหลายโซลูชันแล้วก็บริการมากมายเลยทีเดียวนะคะที่จะช่วยในเรื่องของการปกป้องครอบคลุมนะคะเกี่ยวกับความปลอดภัยได้อย่างมีประสิทธิภาพแล้วก็ที่สำคัญเลยนะคะเราก็ได้รับทราบแล้วว่าในแต่ละโซลูชันนะคะของ Haltdos เองเนี่ยนะคะสามารถที่จะปรับใช้นะคะแล้วก็ปกป้องธุรกิจจากภัยคุกคาม L7 ได้อย่างมีประสิทธิภาพสำหรับข้อมูลรายละเอียดเพิ่มเติมก็สามารถที่จะไปสอบถามได้ที่บูธนะคะจะอยู่ใกล้ๆตรงกลางทางด้านของ Hall Pantry ของเรานะคะเพราะฉะนั้นแล้วเดี๋ยวเราจะมาต่อเนื่องกันสำหรับเซสชั่นถัดไปกันเลยค่ะ